And welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by Julie. Hey, Julie.
Hi, everyone.
So today we are talking about sales pages, what they are, the different varieties of them that are available, and how to determine which one is the best fit for what you are offering on your website. So whether you are a service provider, if you sell goods like journals and books, if you sell courses, coaching, etc., we're going to discuss what the different factors are that play into your choice to use a very involved long form sales page or something a little bit more simple. So there's a couple of things that we're going to discuss as factors that play into this choice. And of course, we will explore what those look like in AttractWell. As you're coming in, please do let us know where you're coming in from, maybe who you serve, what you're working on. Always excited to learn more about the incredible people in this community. Speaking of community, we have a Facebook group. I hope you join us there. It's a fantastic place as well to get help as well as to get inspired by the incredible people in this community doing great work out in the world. So again, welcome, excited to have you here. Julie and I are going to pop out of video, but we will come back to join you here in just a little bit. We've got a lot to get into today. We are going to have this discussion first and a little bit of demonstration. And of course, we do have at the close of the training portion of this call in the first half, we do have several live work reviews that have been requested today as well. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys here. So today, as promised, we are talking about sales pages and when you need one and what kind you maybe ought to use. So we'll talk about sales pages and their alternatives and when to use both. So today we'll talk about the 3 different ways that you can sell and take payment with your AttractWell system, and the 3 factors that will help you determine which of these tools that these payment methods facilitate, and then we'll talk about when you can use them. All right, and then of course, as always, in the latter half of our call, we'll get into live help and Q&A, but the live help part, that does not wait till the end of the call. If you've got questions, please go ahead and add those to the Q&A. You've got Julie and I here. Julie is an absolute expert in our system and is able to handle questions, whether they have to do with today's topic or not. Please feel free to ask them. If it requires a little bit more show and tell, we can make space for that. This call is really designed not just to be a place for you to sit and listen, but for us to be able to interact and solve any issues that may be coming up for you or go in a little bit greater depth in the direction that you're looking for. So don't be shy. All right, if you are watching this as a replay in the future on our YouTube channel, you can go to attractwell.com/office hours to get on the list and join us on these totally free live calls that we offer every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. This is a phenomenal opportunity for you to get access to AttractWell and to understand how it works, to get live help, to connect with community. So much here for you. So I hope you'll come join us on a future live call. And speaking of joining us, if you are here for a live work review, please go ahead and head into the Q&A and let us know that you're here for that. If you signed up, there were 2 slots that filled up this week. If you would like to join next week or in a subsequent week, head over to attractwell.com/work review, and we can work together on whatever it is that you're working on in your AttractWell system. And if you would like to hand off some of the work that you want done or are trying to do, go to attractwell.com/concierge to learn about our team and get a quote for your project. So do me a favor, head into the chat. If you're here, let me know, what do you sell? What are we selling today? We're learning about tools that we can use to sell. So what are we selling? Let's start with that. And if you are working on selling something, how do you offer that sale and take payment? What does that look like for you? Or is it something that perhaps is a little unclear? So there are 3 ways to sell with AttractWell. The first is website pages, where you can do the actual selling and convincing and the collection of payment. You also have, this is of particular interest to you if you are selling a course or a program that lives inside of a vault. That vault checkout page is another way that you can give some details and collect payment for an offer. And then finally, a store listing. So depending on what you sell, goods, services, durable goods, whatever that might be, store listings are where you can put those things as well. So if you are selling something, there are, there are 3 factors that we want to consider as we decide what tool we're going to use, right? Now, what I just described to you are the three sort of mechanisms, right? So you can use pages, you can use a vault checkout, or you can use a store listing. There are some variations of website pages that we're going to discuss here. So there are like long form sales pages and then shorter, more simplified sort of checkout pages that you can put onto website pages as well. So we're going to be discussing the page options and then of course, introducing the checkout page for the vaults and the store listings here on this call. So how do we know which one to use? All right. So the factors that we want to consider first are what are we selling? Then, and this is very important, this might be the most important of these three questions. How are you qualifying your leads before offering the sale? How do you know that the person that is being presented with this sales tool is somebody who is more likely to say yes than someone who is just randomly out in the internet, that's not introduced to you? So how are you qualifying your leads? And then how is the offer being presented? Meaning, how are they introduced to the opportunity to buy something? How does that come up? These are the three things that we want to think about. What am I selling? Am I selling coaching, courses, services, a book? How am I qualifying my leads? Is this something that is just going out to the absolute general public, anybody, whoever? Or is this something that is only being introduced after a certain thing happens? So maybe now someone is in your funnel, maybe they've downloaded a freebie from you, and then that's your qualification. Now that person indicated interest in this topic, I will sell them this thing. Or do we go a step further, right? Are you someone who needs to have a conversation with someone before you offer the opportunity for them to work with you, to purchase from you, et cetera? And then what is the circumstance where the offer is being presented? Is this just randomly on your website, right? Are you SEOing a page, right? Are you trying to rank in the search engines for a page to just show up when someone's Google searching? Are you presenting this inside of a sales campaign after someone is qualified in a lead generating funnel? Are you offering are you offering the sale on a one-on-one call after you've determined that someone's a fit to work with you? So really be thinking about what these factors are. Now let's discuss these sales tools and instances that would qualify for when to use each of them. So the first tool would be a long form sales page. When we think of sales pages, this is generally what we are thinking about as people who are marketing goods and services, products, et cetera, on the internet. A long form sales page. We do have a template for this in our system. I'll review where you can find that as well. And then we have simplified sales pages or vault checkout pages, right? So this would be much, much, much shorter than a long form sales page, or in the case of a vault checkout page, it is incredibly simple and built into your vault. And then finally, pretty straightforward here, is a listing in your store. If you are using the store feature, the e-commerce feature in AttractWell, you can, of course, sell stuff in your store. Now, let's discuss each of these in a little greater depth. So a long form sales page is a narrative on-page journey that is designed to facilitate a decision, right? This is a tool that is going to help you to do the selling and convincing without you being there. And this is actually an example of a template that we have in our system. There is a sort of narrative formula that's being followed here where we're engaging with them, asking them questions. It's almost like having a dialogue with someone without you being there. And we are guiding them through the idea that they really are a fit for this thing that we're presenting to them. We're really digging into the problem, right? And then we're presenting what we have as our solution. Maybe we're breaking down the phases. This, of course, would be one that's structured for maybe a higher ticket program. You may obviously choose to make yours slightly different depending on what you're selling. We've got bonuses here. We're reiterating what you're getting and the dollar value of it, and telling them that there's nothing like this and that this is the solution. We're introducing testimonials. We've got our payment options, questions, all kinds. Like you see, this is long form, truly long form, because what we're trying to do here is introduce their problem, establish our credibility, convince them that this is right for them, and address all of their objections all on the same page. That is what a long form sales page does. All right. So that's just an example of one, and that is a template that we have in our system. So a long form sales page is a narrative on page conversation, really, with a lead, right? Like you are just in their head having this conversation with them. And the page is designed to do all of the selling, okay? And to collect their decision. And you want to use this when the page needs to do all of the selling and the heavy lifting, the convincing, the objection handling, all of that. If you want that to be something that is not a conversation, but a page that's doing this, you're going to want to use a long form sales page. This would be something that you would use in instances where you do not desire to have a one-on-one qualifying conversation, discovery call, etc., with your lead. This is something that is ideal for lower to mid-high ticket offers, things like memberships, programs, courses. And the reason why I say low to mid-high ticket offers is that high ticket offers, unless you have a great deal of experience as well as an extraordinary amount of trust and credibility established with your audience, you're going to find it difficult to sell something truly high ticket without a conversation, right? So I don't generally recommend a long form sales page for high ticket and services, because you really do need that additional qualification and conversation to make sure that you are really meeting them with what they need to hear in order for them to make a decision. So if this is something that's, a couple $100 up to maybe, a couple $1,000, then this would work perfectly fine for that. You don't have to go quite as extensive if it is on the lower end of the spectrum. You don't have to do quite as much pitching and convincing. If you have something that's $30, you also don't need a page that's quite as long as what I've shared with you, right? You can modify that and make it just a little bit shorter to satisfy the points that you need to make to help someone make a decision. And like I just mentioned, those higher ticket offers, they really do need higher qualification before being sent to a page like this, right? If this is a couple $1,000 or, closer to $8,000, then you might want to consider not just sending someone to this sales page from somewhere on your website, but to have this be a part of a funnel where someone's pre-qualified. So maybe, for instance, someone opts in on your website to watch a video, and maybe the video pitches the offer that you're making, and then this sales page is going to go and be offered after that video that presents it in the first place, right? So this is something that kind of backs up that video. So like a workshop, a webinar style presentation where you're really helping to kind of dig into a problem, introduce a solution, and then present what you're selling as the answer to those problems and the solution to those problems. And then, of course, this sales page becomes the tool that seals the deal. You would, in that case, be sharing the link to a long form sales page like this via a sales campaign that's going out to your qualified leads. And you're going to do that on a repetitive basis, right? So if you have a fully automated sales funnel, you're not just going to one and done this, right? You're not just going to show somebody a video that gives the pitch, give them this link one time and say, I did it, right? You're going to be sending this over the course of 10 days with a different reason they should click the link and consider buying, right? And so that is how we use a long form sales page. It does the speaking for you, really conversationally, covering all of the bases and really everything that you can to seal the deal on one page. And it is something that is best used inside of a funnel where someone is pre-qualified, right? So maybe they bought a low ticket offer, maybe they purchased an ebook and now you're offering an upsell of a program. Or maybe they opted in for a free thing and you said, hey, by the way, like maybe they got a PDF from you and you say, hey, by the way, I've got a video that actually teaches you how to use this. You teach them how to use this in the video, and then you go into the sales pitch in that video. So in this way, people who just got the PDF, they could just be looky-loos. That's fine. You're not sending all of the sales messaging to them, but maybe just to the people who wanted to take it a step further, right? And learn how to apply whatever was in that PDF. Those are the people that you want to present this to. That's going to give you the highest likelihood of conversion because those are qualified leads that have indicated that they are interested in a little bit more depth from you. All right. Now, a simplified sales page or a vault checkout page is a great option as well for a lot of us because what it is a place just to take payment alongside a brief overview of your offer. So there are a couple of different ways that this can be achieved. So I'll show you really quickly. This would be, yeah, here's an example of a very simplified sales or checkout page. We've got the name of the program. Here's the features. Here's the benefits, maybe some FAQs, maybe a return policy or refund policy or something like that on a page like this. They've got their ability to pay here. And then, of course, you could just use this, right? Vault checkout pages, super similar. They're going to look slightly different, but the function is more or less the same, where you're going to have the information on then the left-hand column and payment option in the right. Highly simplified and very easy for you to create and use. Now let's talk about when you might choose to use this. Now, this is a tool for you if you have already offered the sale, had a conversation, right? Or if there is some reason for you to not take payment on the long form sales page. Let's get into that a little further. So this is something that you can use for just about any offer, depending on what is shown or shared with a lead before they see this page. Basically, this page is where a decision has been made. They're just getting the fine print and have a place to fill out their payment information, right? So there is no selling happening on this page. There's no pitching, there's no convincing. It is just really basic, straightforward, simple, right? So this is something that really, it's very important for you to take into consideration what happens before it. So ideally, so let's just say, for instance, you're a coach or a service provider who might need to have a qualifying conversation with a lead before, inviting them into a community or working with you one-on-one, or working on a larger package or offer that you have. Right? In those cases, you do need to have a discovery call where you offer the sale, right? You can, of course, introduce what you're selling via a video, like I described previously. And then instead of maybe sending them to a long form sales page, maybe you're selling something that's a little bit lower price. Maybe it's a couple $100, $30, whatever. From a video, you send them to a page like this. They don't really need to do a lot of hoop jumping to decide whether or not they want to spend $200 or $50 or $17 or whatever. This gives you a way to just go ahead and collect that payment because it's an easy decision to make. And then finally, depending on how you are setting up the payment options for your offers, you might choose to send them to a checkout page in lieu of just taking payment on your sales page. Maybe in some cases, because you are selling something that needs a multi-part payment, which requires a vault to accomplish, or you just want to have, for whatever reason, the final checkout be on a different page. So just remember, when you're choosing between a longer form or a super simplified page, the higher the ticket, the higher the touch, right? The higher the price point, the higher the involvement of the client in the work that needs to be done, the more important it is for you to be more present, right? To be able to make the sale, for them to decide that this is for them, right? So if you are selling coaching services or membership at a higher ticket, ideally you're going to have a one-on-one call, and then you're going to send them over to this simplified sales page or to a vault checkout page for them to complete the sale and get started working with you. For a little bit less expensive courses, programs, you could use a video or a sales page and then send them to this checkout page. And then if these are maybe small price courses, small offers, you could even just send emails that sell and outline what they'll get and then send them to this checkout page, right? So if you're selling something for $17, you don't need a sales page that takes 10 minutes to read, right? You can have something that's just super simple. Here's what you get. I already told you everything you needed to know in the email. You're coming over here just to get the outline and to give me the money, right? So for smaller offers, you can use this simplified option preceded by an email or even a video. And remember, if whatever you're selling offers a multi-part payment, so that could be a payment plan, it could be a recurring payment, you're going to want to use a vault checkout page, right? And typically where you are selling something that has a multi-part payment or or is a like a membership or something like that, that's going to be taking place in or delivered in some way in a vault anyway. So you just set up that vault checkout page and that will set you up good to go. Now, finally, we have our store as a way to sell. So the store is a way for you to sell an offer alongside other offers, utilizing a shopping cart type experience, right? So this is an option for you when you have specific quantities of something that you're selling, or it's important to you in some way to utilize a shopping cart, right? So if you want people to be able to add multiple things to their cart at the same time to purchase, then the store listing is going to be great for you. So this is ideal for lower ticket offers. So courses that you might want to allow people to bundle access to together, maybe one-off workshops, goods like journals or any of the other sort of physical things that you could sell, or add-ons for things like courses and workshops. In this instance, of course, because it's a store listing, there is no conversation that's required for you to qualify your leads. And the offer, of course, needs to be compatible with unqualified audiences, right? So this is something that if you have a store, those listings, you can have like a sort of unlisted store listing, which, I mean, you might as well just have a page at that point. But generally speaking, if it's in your store, it should be visible to anybody who could visit your website, or that a search engine might be able to bring them to the website or the page for that product. So highly caution any kind of coaching or service offers in the store if you are someone who wants or needs to qualify your clients before offering the sale to them. This is, like I mentioned previously, an easy way for you to bundle offers if you have got a range of things that you want to sell to a wider audience, right? So if you sell continuing education courses to a particular type of practitioner, you could give them, you could have a separate workbook or journal that you can like kind of add on to the cart. If they are purchasing a particular course, maybe they can purchase several courses as a bundle because you're doing a Black Friday special, something like that. It's an easy way to bundle things together. And these are the things you put into your store are really best for the top of your funnel. So things that people can purchase at a low price that would create an indicator for you that these are folks who would be most likely to purchase from you again in the future. So anything that you want to sell that's smaller, think books, tools, downloads, videos, audio recordings, things like this are going to be a great thing to put in your store. And I'll show you really quickly. We do have some trainings on our store. But this is sort of what the store looks like. Here's the courses one. And you can, put all kinds of things in here, fill out your cart, right? We can add that to cart here, voila. And you can add, all kinds of stuff to it. Obviously, we've got some goofy things in here, but you do have the ability here to introduce images, video, add those details. They can add multiple things to their cart. And then of course, they can check out with multiple purchases there in the same transaction. All right. So some rules to remember as you're making this decision. First, if you are offering coaching or consulting packages, highly, highly, highly recommend that you're using discovery calls because there is such a thing as a client that you regret, right? If you haven't experienced one yet, I hope you never do. But just anybody who has a problem, like just because someone has a problem that you can solve doesn't necessarily make them a fit for you or you for them. And so I think it's really important to have qualifying conversations. When you do, you can then make that offer and voila, your life is really simple. Just use that simplified page or the checkout page that just reiterates the details because you've already made the offer and outlined what they'll get on the call, right? All the convincing was done in the conversation. Now they're going to just simply finish by checking out, right? Now, if you're selling a high ticket course, a program, or membership, and you don't want to use discovery calls, I want you to use a long form sales page alongside some type of video. So think like a training webinar that they opt into first. That will then pitch that offer to them. Then the sales page is what you continue sending them via email in that sales campaign. right? So they're going to be introduced to what you're offering at the end of that training webinar, that recorded video. And then after the fact, until they purchase, you will be sending them this sales page that will be echoing everything you talked about in that training webinar. And of course, outlining everything that they'll get when they ultimately purchase what you're selling. Now, if you're selling a workshop, like a one-off workshop, a course, or another type of low ticket offer, you can use a long form sales page if you're not using video to sell, or you could use a simplified checkout page if you're using video, right? So again, remember, you need to have something that's doing the pitch before sending them to a short form checkout, right? Something needs to be doing the heavy lifting with the selling. And then you're sending them to a page that just has the quick outline of what they're getting and a place for them to purchase, right? And again, if it is a lower ticket offer, you can be doing that in an email as well. You don't necessarily have to have a video, right? But you could have an email that says, you know, get this program and you're going to get X, Y, Z, A, and B. Head over here to get it, right? And then you're just sending them to that simplified page because you did all the pitching in the email. Again, that's going to work for a lower ticket offer, right? Up to a couple $100, I think. But yeah, if you're selling something without calls, make sure the higher ticket it is, the higher touch the resources. And so in that case, it's going to be qualifying them by having them watch some kind of a video that gives context, that pitches the offer. And then, of course, higher ticket, you're going to send them to a sales page. And then if it's lower ticket, you could opt for a checkout page. Any kind of goods, courses, low-cost services, and similar offers like that that you would like to be able to have people bundle and purchase at the same time are great for store listings. And again, if the offer requires a multi-part payment, the final step is always going to be to send them to a Vault checkout page. All right. Now, really quickly, let me go and show you where you create a Vault checkout page. So that you know where to do that. It's really simple to look at. It just depends on how you set it up. So I don't want to get too far into the weeds there with that. But if we go to our vaults under our member area, you'll be able to go into, I'll go ahead and just set this one up for that purpose. If you go to payment setup here, require a payment, this is going to be this checkout page message. This is going to be whatever shows up on the left-hand side of the screen when they're on the checkout page. And then, of course, you will need to set up, this one doesn't have a payment processor attached, but you'll want to set up the payment options here. Those will show up on the right-hand side of the screen. Okay, so if you guys are at this point at all unclear about what resources you'll use to sell, feel free to ask away and we can help figure that out for you today. And then I will start bringing out the folks who signed up for live work reviews here shortly as well. Dara, I see you. Thanks for coming. TL, what does higher touch exactly mean? Not familiar with the concept. So you have two options when you're selling things online. You've got high tech and you've got high touch, right? So high tech is going to be I guess that's not the best distinction to make because there is a higher touch that you would be making with tech. My apologies. But the distinction, the high touch is one that is born out of that, right? Where we can have something that's super automated. You know, so if I'm selling a $30 course, I could just run ads to a page and check the numbers and, you know, and tweak my copy and do whatever. And then I'm basically just doing a math equation based on this audience to this $30 offer. And you can scale something like that up. That's high tech. High touch is going to mean that there is a human presence there. And it's important that whatever you're selling that you are going to use high touch methods for is something that has a good ROI for you. So that's going to be more of a high ticket conversation, right? You don't need to have a conversation with somebody to show them that they need to spend $30 on something to solve a problem that they have. A page or even an email in some cases for $30 can accomplish that just fine, right? So higher touch in the context of what I've shared here today is not just limited to your conversation with somebody. Of course, if you are selling services, high ticket coaching, et cetera, you do want to be high touch and have a qualifying conversation because you don't want somebody just because they have the money for it to show up and not be the right fit, you know? So that's high touch. But you can be high touch with the tech as well in AttractWell. And so what I'm referring to here is that there are more steps. There's more touches, right? So just as an example, if you're selling a program and you don't need to have a conversation with somebody in order for them to purchase, you are going to want to have more instances where you are showing up maybe on an automated basis in their emails, right? So the first thing they're going to do, high touch video, they get to hear from you, right? And then after they click to watch that video, that's going to trigger maybe an automation that's going to be delivering a series of messages to them, right? And so you would want to have a lot of them. If it's a higher ticket thing, you're going to want to be in that inbox with very convincing messages for 10 or 12 days, sending them to a long sales page. Again, that's a higher touch. There's more interaction with the digital you in that case. So generally it does mean more personal interaction, but I'm also talking about high touch in they're being touched by the content that you're creating more often, right? It's going into their inbox more. There's more for them to interact with. So more robust. High touch is probably not the best way for me to put that in hindsight. I hope that that makes sense. Please let me know if you have more questions about that. Okay, how can I take payments for an offering that is being charged on a sliding scale? Ooh, that's a really good question. I'm not sure that we have the capability for someone to enter their own value into a payment form. But that's a really interesting thing for us to explore. Julie, have you heard anything about this specifically? Like being able to provide a, pay what you can option. Have you heard of anything like that in our system yet?
Not that I know of.
Okay, we're gonna put that onto the wish list, Sharon. I think that's we do have a lot of organizations that are nonprofit or faith-based, et cetera, or or whose philosophy is a pay what you can. So I think that that's a really interesting thing for us to look at trying to accommodate. All right, let's see. Oh, awesome. I'm seeing courses. We've got coaches here. Fantastic. All right. So I'm going to really quickly. All right. Sharon and Dara are both here. Fantastic. Thank you for letting me know. All right. The legal requirements for charging taxes on digital goods is defined by the level of interaction with the instructor. If an online course only has videos and no interaction with the instructor, it's a digital good that should be taxed. If there's interaction with the instructor, it can be considered educational, not a digital good. Tax isn't a legal requirement. This fits with using the AttractWell store for low ticket offers that don't have interaction. The AttractWell store does a good job collecting taxes when linked with Stripe. Thank you for that. And yeah, I depending obviously on where you are and what the rules are tax wise where you are, that is definitely something to take into consideration. Yes, and that is true. So there are taxes that are put into the automatic calculation on the store if you're using the store for payments. The tax is not factored into the payment options for Vault Checkout and Pages. That is something that you'll have to work out separately from this. Of course, Stripe is the integration that we have set up here, and there are things that you can do within Stripe to just to make sure that you're keeping compliant with that. So thank you for bringing that up. All right, Dara, let me bring you up first. And yeah, let me know, how can we help you today?
Hi, thanks so much, Ashley. My question wasn't really on sales pages. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, great. So I developed my membership area. I'm still working on it. We're doing like a live launch starting next week. And for a course, it's group coaching. But how do we get the member area to show on our website? Can that be um one of the page options? You know how you have like home, about us, blog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I wasn't seeing that, and I didn't know how to make that happen, and then just make it so that you know they can see there's a member area, but then there be something so they know that they have to pay to get in there.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. So what we could do here is create a menu header And this would be members. This would
Okay.
be member area. That's what it links to. And then
Okay.
this would be a link, or you could make it a button. So I've added a menu header. So
Okay.
menu header, I'm calling it members, or you could say member login. And then it's linking to member area. So this is right
Oh, okay.
here, right? So if
Gotcha.
we save and then view that, it will take you, and I am logged into your
Yep.
account.
Okay. Oh,
So it
okay.
may just take me, yeah, here we go. This is what they'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you do have the option if you go under your member area settings.
Okay.
Here, if we go to setup here under member area, you can
Uh,
add a bit more information here. You can even link here if you want to maybe provide people with, hey, if you're interested in like, click here to learn more about our programs or something like that. So
Okay.
that's under this
And then that could go to a
personalization.
sales page. Okay.
That's
Then that
right.
could go to like a sales page. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
So that
you.
is,
It's just a matter of finding where it all is, right?
yeah, for sure. For sure. Was that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's good.
Oh,
Thank you.
all right. Well, that was easy. All right. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
All right. Sharon, how can we help?
Hi.
Hey.
So I sent a bunch of questions in when I made the appointment. So what I'm trying to do, I just signed up for AttractWell.
Mhm.
And so I'm looking to set up my account. And I'm not quite sure how to do this so that I do it properly to start with. Um, so I have three different business lines that are all under like a um, holistic wellness umbrella. So I'll have three different domains that I want to have one group of contacts for all of them. But I
Okay.
would be sending out separate offers for each of the businesses. So I have a Souls Design, my cleansing space, and then a Reiki business that I don't have a domain for yet. So I'm not sure which one to make my main domain in AttractWell. And then my main question is, like, I'm thinking that I would use my cleansing space because it's the one that I'm going to use as my LLC, as the umbrella company. But the main thing I'm going to be doing right now is sending out information for a training class that's coming up starting October 28th for Assault Design. And then also the Reiki practitioner training that I'm going to start as soon as I get the course built. But can I send things out if I put this under mycleansingspace.com? Can I send things out that say they're coming from a Souls Design and coming from the other business as well? Or will any communication that goes out look like it's coming from my cleansing space?
Okay. So two things. Number one, in AttractWell at this point, you are capable of connecting one domain. Now, if you, of
Right.
course, possess other domains, maybe they're with GoDaddy or Namecheap or wherever, you
Yep.
can use
Mhm.
forwarding to, if somebody goes to, website B, it would forward to a page that's on the home domain that you have with AttractWell. So what
Yep.
I
Okay.
recommend in cases like this, because it sounds like there is a fair amount of overlap with the audiences. They are all here for Sharon, right? They're here for you. It's something that you're doing, and there is some commonality between them. Generally speaking, what I recommend is to brand yourself or to brand whatever that sort of overarching theme is. And then these other things that you're talking, these three different things, they become the brand names of the offers, right? People are following you. They're not following my cleansing space. They're following Sharon. They're not following the Reiki training. They're following Sharon. Sharon offers Reiki training. Sharon offers this thing. Sharon offers that thing. So you can utilize those other domains that you own to point to offers if you want to be promoting them separately. That's great for branding. Like if you're on social media and you can get, you're specifically in your content that day talking about cleansing, and you can say, go to mycleansingspace.com, and then you'll get access to X, Y, and Z. But you're there as Sharon Forrester, and maybe the website name that you use is sharonforrester.com or something more along those lines that allows you a more neutral umbrella for you to position those other offers. And so that way, no matter how someone is coming into the fold, they're always communicating with you. They're always hearing from you. And it also provides, I think, an easier way for them to take advantage of multiple offers from you, right? Because people don't really want to engage with like the difficulty of remembering who it is with what thing. They either want to know about the thing, the brand, or they want to know about the person who has the things that they do. And I just think that having it be the person, right? That's like who the brand is, that's what the website is. And then here's the things that they do. That gives you a lot more opportunity to grow, to add more things into the fold. You're not going to limit yourself by the name of an LLC. You can always DBA, right? Like you are doing business as, or you're just presenting yourself, right? I have an LLC and it shows up exactly 0 places, the name of it, it doesn't have to necessarily be what's out front. It obviously needs to be in your fine print somewhere, but yeah, I would use your name,
right?
Or something general.
Well, actually, so I've considered that, and I don't want to go that route.
Okay.
Because the bigger picture will be my cleansing space.
Okay.
I'm just wanting to know, like, is it possible? Because the other businesses are not just me. So it's not totally sole proprietor.
Okay.
Like the Reiki training will be, most of the customers will have through that will know somebody else's name, not mine.
Okay.
So
but are you referring to?
So is it possible? So all I'm wondering is it possible, and it probably is not, is it possible to have communication like emails go out from a different name than the domain that I have registered with AttractWell?
At this point, no. But you can, like, there are things that you can do to help mitigate any issues where that's concerned. So just as an example, and I don't want to get into this fully visually because I don't want to share your personal information, but whatever you put into your contact information right here is what's going to show up as the from sender and the email address, right? So whatever you have here is what's going to show up as from and the actual email that it's coming from when you email to someone. And so if you are like, if My Cleansing Space is going to be ultimately the umbrella brand for everything, then absolutely have My Cleansing Space. But then maybe you might, say Sharon at My Cleansing Space, right? As the who it's sending from. And so that way, I mean, really the only reason why there's ever a disconnect in terms of like the brands and the brand names, et cetera, is when things are made unclear. So if on the pages, for instance, where you are maybe talking about or offering the Reiki training, just make a point of clarity, in the branding for your website and elsewhere where things are showing up that, hey, when you opt, like on the confirmation page, after somebody opts in for something to get information from you, you say, you're going to be looking for this email, right? This is coming from me. Hi, I'm Sharon with My Cleansing Space. You're going to be meeting so-and-so, that does this Reiki training. So if you're preempting the potential confusion with explanation, it's not going to really be an issue. You just need to make sure that those expectations are clear, so that when they get an email from someone that they weren't expecting, that they don't go and, call it spam or what have you. So if we're making it clear at the outset, telling them what to expect, then you're fine. And I think that there's a way, obviously, I don't know this very well, what you're doing, the details, but I'm sure that there's a way to explain this on your website where it needs to be said in such a way that it doesn't cause issue or confusion with you sending out those emails.
Okay. And so that contact information that you were pointing to, is that something that if I change that, like if I was going to do a marketing thing for a Souls Design for my human design training course that's coming up, if I put the from contact information of um, a Souls Design via, you know, my cleansing space or whatever I put in there, or a subsidiary of my cleansing space, something like that, and then do my campaign, and then next month I want to promote the Reiki training. Can I change that, or will that mess up things in the other campaign that I already have going?
So it depends. If the campaign that you begin this month, or like let's just say, if that remains something that people can access and opt into, basically anything that you change right here is global, right? So when you change
Mhm.
that contact information, if there are people that are on a campaign that still has a few more messages that need to go out, that information is going to change when they receive that, right? So if there are people that are still receiving business A info or offer A information, and you go in and you change the name here, that's going to get confusing for people if they're still on that campaign. So if you don't have anything else that's set up to send, or you don't have any evergreen offers up on your website, then in theory, you could go in and change that. You just have to make sure that there is not any other stuff that's lingering that people could opt into, that would be
Yep.
incongruent, right? And that there's
Mhm.
nothing left to still send at that point. So yeah, you could do that. You just want to make sure there's a clean break between in terms of time and the availability of the opt-in.
Yeah. Okay. And then is there a way, like in the future when things get bigger, if I was to do an AttractWell account for each of the 3 domains, is there a way to merge the contacts so that I have one, like, can the contacts be copied over, and when a new contact is added, be added to all 3?
So generally, no. And part of that is actually like legal. When people are opting into something, like it needs to be really clear what they're opting into. And typically, if you've got the 3 different accounts, if those are 3 different businesses, like there's probably different policies and all, like if it's not one umbrella, like truly one umbrella, one AttractWell account. Um, I think technically you really do need to have people opt in to the other thing. It's going to be coming from a different email address that could cause issues for you, right? Like if if somebody
Right.
opts in,
Yeah.
like if somebody opts in to get something from you, the email address that you're sending from is the one that has permission, right? And so yeah, like that's something that I wouldn't necessarily advise. Can you? Yes, you would be exporting your contacts and you would be uploading them into the separate AttractWell account. But
Mhm.
it would still be really important for the deliverability of your future messages that would go out from that email address on the second account that you're using. That opt-in is going to be really critical, because
Yeah, that
if
makes sense.
if people start seeing something from an email address that they don't know, and again, if these you're going to be using different names, like that's kind of a recipe for getting flagged in spam.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right, great. Yeah, and then so my question that I put in chat earlier, that's like a primary thing. I know you said you were going to put that on the list
Mm,
to be able to
mm-hmm.
take the sliding scale payments.
Yes.
Um, do you think that's a quick fix, or a months before
Yeah,
I
so
do something on that?
that's a Greg question. And they're
Okay.
actually they're traveling with their daughter today. And yeah, so that would maybe be something. We're gonna put it into our wish list for sure. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, honestly, just absolutely no idea how long something like that would take. But we'll
Okay.
definitely put it in and see what we can do.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you. I think that's all of my questions for right now.
All right,
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Well, Yeah, of course. So you're certainly welcome to come back and ask more anytime. And of course,
Okay.
guys, we so appreciate you coming out, asking great questions, and giving us more reasons to show up and show more stuff. Hey, speaking of coming back and talking about more stuff and features that are really cool and sometimes can take a long time to create. Next week, actually, probably the next 3 weeks, we are going to be launching something really, really cool. If you've been in your AttractWell account in the last 48 hours, you may have noticed this right here, calendar booking and call packages. You guys, when I tell you that I have been waiting for this feature for 7 years, I'm not exaggerating. I think we just needed enough people who really wanted it as bad as I did. It was one of the first things when I saw what Greg was working on. I was like, hey man, if this, you could book calls with this, it would have everything. So we are going to be getting into that next week. You can start playing around with it now. You can break up with Calendly, Acuity, Schedule Once, or Once Hub, whatever they call themselves now. You can forget about all of those because you now have the ability to set up your calendars in AttractWell to create booking appointments just like you would on any of those other platforms. And you can create call packages where your system knows and can communicate with you and them what number call they're on in their package of 10 with you. And you can customize all kinds of cool stuff. Guys, there's so much that we can do with this. And starting next week, we are going to start diving into this brand new, super, super exciting feature in our system. Again, you guys, you get to break up with your calendar system and use AttractWell. Now you really, you don't need anything else. Like what else do you need? Literally, what else do you need? I mean, once you got the calendar in there, it's everything. So that's literally, it's the only other thing that I use. So, and I don't have to anymore. It's so great. All right, well, we will be back next week to talk about that. If you guys have any more questions, we could stick around for a few more minutes. If there is any further maybe clarification on something we discussed today, or if you have questions, we do have a little bit more time to take those. Otherwise, we will be back here same time next week. We'll do initially a sort of overview of this new calendar feature, how you can get started with it. Subsequent weeks, we'll talk about things like creating those call packages, selling those call packages, and more. We'll also talk about if you are a yoga studio, a massage therapist, a Reiki practitioner, if you're somebody who takes service appointments, this is something that you can use for this as well. So maybe not just breaking up with Calendly, but Moments and other, kind of booking platforms for classes and studios. You could use AttractWell for that as well. So excited to get into that next week. Don't see any more questions, so we're going to go ahead and run. I hope you guys have a fantastic week till we see you next time. And yeah, come prepared and come excited because we're getting in scheduling next week. Take care, everybody.